Dan and his girlfriend are having dinner together. He was attacked by a scoundrel. Make fun of your beautiful girlfriend. Immediately, Death teaches them a lesson in life. With just a toothbrush and dirty dishes, made the leader lie on the floor. The others rushed in and were beaten back. He was a rude and hot-headed police officer. Because it's as hot as ice cream, he was expelled from the police force. He was asked to divorce by his wife. The man who helped his wife get a divorce was Hui Van. She's a talented female lawyer, but she's usually very clumsy because after the knitting Death was discharged by the new job is unstable. There's a little domestic violence. Let us deal with the divorce of the debt by dividing most of the property, his for his wife, Kia. That makes Death knit extremely urgent. Long and his wife filed for divorce. It is also David's day, and a city carrying $6 million of an underground businessman. It's called Super Uncle. He sent 2 subordinates, give money to the lawyer. Because Blue is a money laundering expert. He told David he'll send $6 million, accounts of 5 companies, then use this money to buy higher priced real estate in the US. Next week, money will become legal money, and moved back to the United States for the Super Kia boss. David thought the plan was perfect and approved of this deal. 3 people happily set out to deposit money in the bank. The elevator suddenly stopped on the 17th floor. 4 assassins stand outside the door, shooting at them at the same time. The blue bow was hidden in the elevator blind spot, so it didn't get shot. David was lucky enough to save his life. Only a man with a suitcase was seriously injured. To protect money, a man jumps out of the elevator and runs straight down to the underground parking lot. Before getting in the elevator again, he had to die. Next, climb into the car of female lawyer Hugh Van and F. She's driving so fast. The killer in the back tried to kill him, shooting at them. The writing is so scary. I crashed into another car while driving, causing a city to be thrown out of the car due to inertia. Now David, also carry a gun. Go and shoot the other killers. However, the boss behind it was very well prepared. To other killers with submachine guns, come in and shoot straight at the moving AI. Then the murderer came to a dead city. 6 checks everywhere but can't find $6 million United States dollars. Meanwhile, Dan in a corner also caught the robber. He's fighting a guy, killed and restrained him with a series of kicks. The police finally arrived and the gunfight was over. He greeted the police officer who was a German. You were close colleagues before. They were all taken to the police station for testimony, even though Dan saved her life in the parking lot earlier. But writing because of fear. That Vu, he is accused of colluding with those killers. Fortunately, with the help of a German, he was exonerated. The gunfight is over. $6 million has also disappeared. David and the great lawyer both aimed at Hui Van because she was the last person to see the thief. They even suspect she's the mastermind behind the gunfight. David had to get the money back. The conversation between the 2 men was Great's girlfriend. Blue is the sound. You can't believe it. My boyfriend colluded with gangsters to launder money. After a self-examination of conscience, I decided to call the police. While you're on the phone, an assassin dressed in black broke into the house and killed her with a knife. At the same time, the writer also came to the house. You 2 are best friends. I want to talk to you about today. I can't wait for Death to arrive. Then out, because she's so upset about what she did to me. So, Death is going to teach you a lesson, respect for others. Unexpected during the fight, they found the body of a cat. Suddenly, Inspector Ha also brought people here, because I called the police earlier. As soon as I saw the body, from Dan and Hugh were identified as suspicious. The first offense, they're handcuffed, and the others were asked to inspect the room. But the killer is still hiding in the dark. They had to show up and shoot everyone, with 2 guns. Inspector Ha quickly dodged and shot the killer in the shoulder. The killer struggled to escape the police siege. Multiple opportunities to catch, take her hostage, and escape from the room. In times of chaos. On the way, I met David. David also wants to write. He fell down with just 1 kick. He decided to deal with David, but his hands are locked with the text. Can't use power, so David took advantage of that. After a series of combos, the woman's influence on the speed of the punch, knitting element quickly adjusts position and find a chance to punch David in the face. I almost threw him off the bridge. Then take that opportunity and run away. On the way, the continuous text of Silk and the blindfold made both of them almost hit by the car. Next, I met a policeman, but lightning fast was killed knitting for a knockout punch. Always, Don had to shut his mouth so that Hugh would not shout anymore. You're finally exhausted and no longer resist. After carrying Hugh literature home, Deathknit immediately go to the pole confided. Your feet are tired, so sit down. As a result, my pants are soaking wet. Can't say a word. Next, I want to go get the key to the handcuffs, but the Chinese have a bad intention. So, I slapped you. After resolving all misunderstandings, Deathknit kindness bandage for Hugh Van. Fragile girl, a day couldn't be worse. She cried a lot and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning I saw you on. They are wanted by the police. The writing is extremely painful. Yesterday, you were a bright future lawyer. Now he's a murder suspect. So, she decided to find David. To find out what happened. The next day they followed David and stopped him in an alley. David and Death got into a fight after meeting each other. In the end, he used one punch to defeat David. But Hugh was startled by the termite snake. I dropped the flower pot on my head. Death knit unconscious. While she's confused, 2 assassins arrive. It can only be used by Dan and David. Get in the cart and run away. But down the slope, I can't keep the car anymore. So Dan and David fell down. Fortunately, there's a big truck coming to pick them up, so they don't so. Death woke up. He hurried to hide in the sewer. David saw that and chased after Joe. 2 assassins came in with guns. I just saw them shoot. Deathknit cut the string underground sewer lights dark immediately. The killer took the lighter. The fire hit David's flap again. The eyes and hands are very sharp, and he killed the murderer. The other was also killed. Electrocution by plugging the power cord into the water. David immediately took the killer's gun. I asked for the money, but he didn't kill them for feeling. Death and literature are just the ones who are caught up into this. David left his card and left. Then, it's a great way to enjoy the life of a scoundrel. Eat street food and drink beer cans. To recognize the beautiful, it's still beautiful when it's done. If you drink, you can't afford to pay. Thinking of a way, there are thugs coming. Tease Hui Van. Immediately, it teaches them a lesson in life. But from a distance, the 2 assassins are still following them. He was busy with the thugs. They chased the text. Knitting immediately recognized and chase. I got on the wrong bus, but it doesn't matter when you're full of martial arts. You jump over that car, dodge bullets, and then suddenly, a guy fell in his hooves, even though they got hit by some of them. But in the end, Death still makes 2. The killer must pay for the loss. My snake. At the right time, the blue arrow drove up to pretend to be a good person and saved them. But as soon as he got in the car, he killed himself. Make you unconscious. Blue bow reveals the real face. I tied my bicycle to the wheel to ask for money. I would rather die than surrender. Right now, the top 2 assassins invited by the blue arrow from the United States have arrived. He's temporarily leaving to meet 2 hitmen. My 2, a long-haired guy with a sword, a muscular black guy. When the green leaves Hui Van bite off the rope-tied hands. They then escaped from the factory. I am hungry and anxious to solve this case. He wants to find someone to help him, and that person can only be a German best friend. The second friend agreed to help, so I've got a tape recorder ready. Go to the office of the Lord. He said he knew the history of Dan and Hugh. You can tell the world to give a German 30% of the 6 million United States dollars. However, they have underestimated the wisdom of the world. He saw through the plot of a German. Call the inspector to report first. After the police brought people in, he gave the tape he had opened to Inspector Ha. So the police had no choice. He had to temporarily suspend his work in Germany. An angry German rushed out of the room. Accidentally VA must female secretary of Blue Bow. The police officer came to help her, and saw the wound on his shoulder. She immediately remembered that she had shot the assassin, dressed in black on the shoulder. I'm going to take the secretary to investigate. But the secretary was killed by an assassin. Clue. This is clearly a blue-collar murder. Detective Ha is determined to chase the killer. After crashing his car, she chased to the side of the overpass. I saw him fight back fiercely, so you have to shoot down the target. They also found David. David confessed to giving him his money. Super for Blue Bow 2, money laundering. But I can't believe that they want to steal that money. David asked 2 people to help him find the money. I'm going to give them $300,000 in compensation. So there's 3 people who want to kidnap the Blue Bow, but he got it wrong and just returned from the US. They're being chased by your subordinates, and they have to split up. They are fighting against those people. Let the other 2 run first. David, he took the unconscious to the hotel to bathe, change clothes, while the death nits here are just tired and have bad luck. The whole thing. David was even more angry when he heard the news. He stormed into the hotel and questioned David. So David was just teasing. He said that she is not the wife of the dead. Why is he so angry? The words also know the feeling that Don. For me? Then 3 people talk about the day the money was stolen. 3 people start rethinking the whole process. When the death nits hit by a city, I see the suitcases still full of money, but he saw a city when he rushed into the car. Nothing to carry. 3 people concluded the money was hidden in the room. The elevator. It's Dan and 2 Kia guys pretending to be maintenance workers. Elevator. They're in the building's elevator. Climb to the roof and find some US dollars outside. Then they saw that the money had fallen. They rushed down to collect all the money. After getting the money, 3 people went to the bar to celebrate. David decided to get drunk. I will return the money to you tomorrow. David and his wife decided to go with David. Tomorrow? But David was always afraid that something was wrong. So I drank wine for death. He left $300,000 as promised. Take the money and find the million. To the law firm. Uncle Ho is sitting with his back to him. The sage is also there. David says that all of this, it's all because of the people behind it. Pull the rope. But the millions didn't react. The Lord slowly turned the summons. Ra was killed by him. Then, all of David's attacks were stopped by the gods. David is thin, but he is strong. He came back to David, made him fly away and broke the wooden door. David was seriously injured. He used all his strength to grab his tie, Blue Bow, and tried to strangle him. Blue Bow tugging off his tie rope. He punched David in the face. Another kick made me fall on the glass table. David was severely injured. At the right time, he used a flamethrower to break down the door to save David, get the money back. But then David died of his wounds. Before that, David picked up a piece of time paper. The next drug dealer's location. My whole life I have only 2 friends. One is a German who was suspended because of you. The other is David. He was beaten to death because he didn't want to get involved. Now I just want revenge. He holds a samurai sword in his hand. Fighting with the American long-hair assassin. American assassin with a knife attacked. Every stroke of his sword has the power to cut thousands of pounds. Initially, Dan did not have time to react, so he was slashed 2 times. You change your fighting position quickly. Death suddenly jumped up and slashed the back of the killer. Move from defense to attack. Last assassin stabbed to death Nit. He used the left hand. He grabbed him and killed him with his right hand. But the blue is still hiding. Hui Van is determined to kill Green to avenge his friend. They want you to give up because of the danger. So the 2 of you got into a fight, and then Death Nits fainted, right? So you don't take risks. The next day, Dan and a German were driving together. Stormed into the Blue Bow's warehouse, then get out of the car. He took the gun and killed all of the Blue Colt's men. The assassin in black suddenly uses an iron chain, tight lock hand Nit. Throw me around a few times. The hand is locked and cannot be used at all. The black guy came back and kicked you out. Then Dan's death developed. Continuous kick trick to knock out the black guy. The black guy hugged the knitting death. He wants to use brute force to break cervical vertebrae of the knit silk. In times of danger, they can only hit people in black with their heads. To see the more stubborn A. After getting out of bondage and suffer a wave of injuries, Knit Death soars into the air and do a series of spinning kicks. Blame not. The black man was kicked out and was stabbed to death by sharp nails. Over there, a German was shot and injured by the blue arrow. He then pointed his gun at a German. Death must appear. I saw my friend injured. Death Knit extremely angry, Rushra hit Blue Bow. At this time, the words came from behind. Suddenly hit the Blue Bow in the head with an iron stick. He took the opportunity to grab his clothes. Start melee combat. After 2 fierce battles, Dan could no longer remain calm. Fight to the death with him. You threw a powerful punch that set him back. He's planning the final blow. He once again struck an iron rod in his head. The result is the animal. You have to pay for your crime. The movie is over. Thank you all for your interest and follow-up. If you see or give yourself a like, subscribe to the channel to support me. Hello and see you all. Goodbye.